Okay, well, hello again, KCIW listeners, and welcome to Curry Café. I'm volunteer Rick McNamer. Every Sunday from 3 to 4, your host, Ray Gary, and I put together a panel of guests to discuss various topics of interest that impact our wonderful community. Now, listeners can participate by texting questions or comments to 541-661-4098. Again, that number is 541-661-4098. I want to shout out today that we just found out our topic today is whales. We're going to talk all whales, which is just great and wonderful. And our engineer, Mr. Michael, pointed out to me earlier today is World Whale Day. That came from the Scripps Institute, I believe, in San Diego. Didn't even know it, and I'm a whale fan. And one more quick thing, I'm going to usurp my host and friend Ray for the introductions. I'm going to introduce our guest today. Her name is Joann VanHorn, and I met her while I was whale watching, which is one of my favorite things to do.
Hey.
And Joann, you're here to give us all the info on the whales. So go ahead and give us your little background situation. And
okay, well, I consider myself a citizen scientist about whales. I'm sort of a geek about them. I'm originally from Colorado, so I grew up without an ocean. And I spent enough time in places like Hawaii when I was younger that I liked the ocean, but I could never quite get it together to live there. And so 5 years ago, I moved out to Eugene from Colorado, and then I lived in Eugene for a while to see where I might end up on the coast. And I ended up coming here mostly because my name came up on a housing list. So that's what brought me to Brookings, which it's not a bad deal. I can't complain about it. But since I've been here, I've been involved with the State Parks Whale Watch program, which is it's a really big effort, and it's actually been part of their program for 40 years. And so what the state parks does is have people who volunteer learn about whales and go through this process to do that. And then what we do as volunteers is get out at the parks during certain times of the year and help people learn how to watch whales and use binoculars and things that they don't know how to do.
Right. And there are some finer points out there, aren't there?
There are, yeah. If you don't know what to look for when you're trying to watch for whales, you're probably going to miss it.
Yeah.
And it really takes practice. And I always say it's like watching water boil, where you just sort of it's really boring and then it's not. And then it's fun. But in between the watching and seeing, it's just these long stretches of nothing.
Right.
So, yeah.
But in those long stretches of nothing, where we live, it's so beautiful.
No, really.
I think it was last year, where one of those days where we didn't happen to see any whales for quite some time, or none appeared. There was a couple of bald eagles flying around,
right.
And boy, all the binoculars went to the bald eagles and checking those out. So
right, no, what we do here in Brookings, we use Harris Beach for the park, and that's a beautiful park. It is. Can't complain about that. So yeah, I grew up always being outside. And I've always learned that, I have to be outside as much as I can. So for me, to stand there with a pair of binoculars, not doing anything, I'm not going to complain, as long as it's not raining or snowing. But it's a fun thing to do, and it's a great opportunity to learn. Yesterday was the official yearly State Parks Whale Watch training.
Yeah. Tell us about some of that. You got a lot of how long did that last? That you had
Well, it was an in-person thing at the I can't even remember where it is in Newport, but there's a what's the school? I forget.
The college?
Marine Museum.
Oh,
there.
Okay.
And so they have this facility where they do the training, and it was an in-person training with about 8 different experts. So you could go and do that, and it's a kind of a long drive, so I didn't do that. So I stayed home and watched it on Zoom, and it was about
Thank heavens for Zoom sometimes. What can I say?
yeah. But no, it started at 9 and it ended at 4.
Wow.
So it was a bit, but it was great. There were some updates of stuff that I hadn't heard before, so it was really worth it, and I learned a lot. And one of the hardest things that you learn about whale watching and whales in general and ocean marine mammals and stuff is it's actually really depressing because of the condition of the ocean and the stuff that's going on that we don't really understand and can't do much about as people.
A lot of that comes in climate change and
so there was a lot of climate change talk yesterday that was really
it's disheartening, but
really,
we have to hold out some positivity that we can tackle this thing. I think we can.
Yeah. I mean, the whales are basically okay. There's a bit of concern about, we have some really skinny whales, which seems like a really odd way to put it, but they're starving because of the condition of the oceans, and not all of them. There's one of the researchers who's been here forever, Carrie Newell. She has her own whale watching service in Depot Bay, and she also has her own little museum of all the stuff that she's done. And she was talking about how the whales in this area are actually really fat and healthy, and that for some reason the food here is really primo, and they do okay here. So
yes, and I think we've had, as you know, we were at Bill Gorham's wonderful talk just a few days ago. He's a marine biologist, more with the tide pools and stuff. But we had talked about this little section of ocean along the Oregon coast and California coast.
Right.
It's kind of a special little place.
It is.
With food is usually plentiful with the different conditions that we have.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's actually people don't really know, but there's a group of whales here that stay here almost all year round.
Resident whales.
They're called. There's a name. They're called the Pacific Coast Feeding Group.
Oh.
That's an official name, and there's like 212 of them right now.
Oh, wow.
So,
there's a good count of that.
Yeah, I mean, you got to wonder how they count whales.
Well,
I've never figured that out,
well,
but they do.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting. Whales have names, and researchers recognize each single whale, and they can point each whale out, and they can tell you which one it is, and the history of that whale, and how many calves they had, and all this stuff.
I
so
think
it's
that's
amazing.
Great. I'm glad there's enough smart people and brave people to go out and do that, because that's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and they're absolutely passionate about it.
Oh, man.
And it's just, it's great.
We've talked, both you and I, we're both passionate about just watching them.
Yeah. No, I think it would be really fun to do that. I mean, the one lady that talked yesterday, Carrie, she's done this since she wanted to do it since she was 7, and she got to do it. And she went to school and did all this stuff and went through all this stuff and had kids and all grandkids now doing it. And she can't shut up. I mean, it's like, don't get her started.
That's a good thing, I think,
Yeah.
for those of us passionate about whales. And if you are passionate about whales, and we've got the person here to talk to us about it, and you can text in at 541-661-4098. And I'm glad you mentioned that there are some here all year round, because I've seen them here all year round, but not like I've seen them when the migration's going on. My best day ever here in the over 7 years that I lived here was one day up at just north of Harris Beach is Cape Farello. Mm-hmm. I think that's a great place. It's small, not a lot of people. Not a lot of people can park there. But one day, me and a friend of mine, we were out there. I think we ended up stopped counting at about, it was over 100 that we saw. Now, appearances, I know there wasn't 100 whales out there, but they were, the spouts. What a day.
Yeah.
What a day
it's
that
fun.
was.
It's so exciting.
Tail flips. We didn't see any breaching that day.
Yeah. Gray whales don't typically breach.
I did see a breach one time at Harris Beach. Of all places, right at the lower parking lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was pretty exciting.
That would be. No, what I learned yesterday, they typically don't breach, but when they breach, they do multiple breaches. So it's not like just one backflip. They do 5
Yes.
in a row. So
Yeah.
that would be really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exciting.
And Cape Ferrello, that's an excellent place. It's really,
It's a special little place.
it is. No, I've seen them, and they come up. It must be something. There must be a basin there where they can come in, and
That's what
stuff right there that they can come
Right.
in really close.
my first couple of years here, they had the volunteers were there at Cape Ferrello.
Really?
And now there's also a couple of hiking trails, a little too brutal for me, but there's one that hikes out to the point.
Right.
And the guy was saying if you can get out there, a lot of times where it's situated so where you could actually look down, the whales come that close to shore because it kind of drops off.
Yeah, no, I bet
So,
they do.
yeah, it's a special place.
It's a special place, and it's what I found. Excuse me. Once you've had an up close experience with the whale, then you just can't stop, and it's just in your blood. And I don't know. I honestly think it's some kind of a divine intervention that they just sort of sprinkle fairy dust on you, and you can't stop. Because I got spy hopped by a whale up close.
And where was that at?
Spy hopped up at Oprah Wayside, which was the strangest place to expect that to happen.
And where is that? Oregon?
It is. It's up just north of Gold Beach by 9 miles.
Oh, wow.
It's up. It's sort of right before you head up the hill towards Port Orford.
Okay.
But it's a bit. That is Nasika Beach, and that little wayside is there's a restroom there, and
I know what
pretty
you're
big
talking
parking
about
lot with
now.
the light
Yes.
flashing light.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was there, and I had basically just moved here, and I was having one of those days where you just got to get out and
Yeah.
someplace different. So I went on the beach, and I didn't have my camera. I didn't have my nothing.
Well,
I didn't have my binoculars. I didn't have
course.
nothing. And I was walking along, and it was a beautiful day, I remember. And I looked kind of to the left, and all of a sudden I thought, wait, there's not a building there. Wait, what is that? And I turned, and it was a whale who'd stuck its head up.
Oh, my.
And that's really exciting because they're like a building.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
25 feet of a whale.
Yes, pretty huge.
And so it did it several times to me, and I think I probably stood there and cried,
Oh,
you know.
man.
And then that was like the fairy dust, and I was like, I always have to look now. I always need to see.
Yeah,
it
and
there.
me growing up in the Sacramento Valley, we'd take occasional trips to the ocean, but I had never seen a whale. And the first time I did was visiting friends up here in Crescent City, going down Pebble Beach Drive, which skirts the ocean down there. Are you familiar with that?
Right.
A lot of little pullouts. And God, this was many years ago, but that was the first time I had ever seen a whale.
Yeah.
And ever since then, it's just something about, like you said, divine, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Whenever I see a spout, that's one of the biggest things.
I have
me.
to stop. I have to look.
Oh my gosh!
I have-
and
and
I'd stay there forever if I could.
Yeah, no, it's fun.
Pretty
I mean, I
wonderful.
think it's reflected in the one of the statistics we got in this training yesterday. Over the past 40 years, there have been 1.25 million visitors tracked through the program, and that's basically the volunteers have a clicker and they.
Yeah, right.
But 1.25 million, that's a lot of people.
Well, so a lot
There's
more people are excited as like we are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how could you not be once you've seen that?
Well, you're right. How could you not be? We've talked a little bit about this. What blows my mind, hey, everybody's got different things that they like or don't like. But I have been sitting a few times at Harris or Cape Ferrello or even down below Chrissy Field. And I would see a whale, and then I'd see people walking around. Oh, my gosh, hey, there's whales out there. Now, some people were just as excited, but some people were just kind of, oh, really? Okay, well, let's go hike somewhere else. And to me, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
But that's just because we have that inner feeling for those creatures.
Well, I think you're right. I think it's just like people like to crochet, and I don't. I mean, it's just
Right,
something that you like. But it's fun, and when I've learned a lot of the stuff, like I learned yesterday, some of the new things that I didn't know about. Like the one thing I learned that was really, I had no idea. When a whale spouts, depending on what kind of whale and how tall the spout is, that, let's see what the number is. One of the whales, gray whales that was in captivity after he was rescued, it's been like 25 years ago, they were able to measure the miles per hour of the air coming out of his lungs when
Oh,
he did
wow.
the blow.
Okay.
And that whale, it was clocked at 80 miles per hour, which is really fast, really fast.
Yes.
And then typically, though, the thing yesterday, their blows are about 45 seconds long, and the typical mile per hour speed of a blow is 200 miles an hour. So that's why when you see it blow up, when
Wow.
it shoots up in the air, that's a huge amount of air, like that's a refrigerator size amount of air. And it's just blown out of their lungs just at 200 miles an hour, which is pretty incredible, yeah.
Yes,
And
it
how
is.
did they come up with that number? I don't know.
Well, like
But
I
they
said, they're
did.
smart people
They're smarter
to
than
do
me.
that. Yeah.
But that's when you think about the size of that creature, that's just
Yeah.
for me. It's hard to wrap your head around,
It is.
and maybe that's why I like to watch them, is so I can sort
there's
of figure it out.
so
What is
much,
that?
and I always think not only are they out there when we see them, they're out there 24/7
All the time.
What do they do
What
at
are they
night? I don't
doing?
know
Right.
if they've surveyed that or not.
Right?
Probably kind of tough to
I'm
do.
sure they have. In fact, some whales sleep with their tails
Oh,
down in the water. They
The
sleep with their heads
sperm
up.
whale, I think, does that.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm?
I
There
think
was a
so, yeah.
special I saw one time. What an odd, almost scary-looking thing. But they had the pictures of these sperm whales sleeping straight up and down.
Vertical, yeah.
Vertical. Thank you. Yeah.
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 No, you'd want to see that. I think it'd be fun. I've never been out on a boat. And the people that I've talked to that have been out on boats and got to pet the whales and have them come up close and stick
Yeah.
their heads up in the boat.
I've never had them that close, but I have been out whale watching twice.
Uh-huh.
And that was out of near Monterey, a little place called Moss Landing, which is just north of Monterey.
Mm-hmm.
And what got me to go out there, God, this must have been 15 years or so more ago. There was an article in the San Francisco Chronicle. There was an outdoors writer. His name was Tom Steenstra. I love the guy. I don't think he's around anymore, but he was a big outdoorsman. He would kayak out of this Moss Landing out into the ocean while the whales are out there. Something I wouldn't do. But just talking about it, and Monterey is another place that is just big time for wildlife.
Right,
It's
yeah.
a special place
It's
with
a
that
special place.
canyon and
Right.
that kind of stuff. But boy, I was reading that, and he was talking about all the whale watching boats, and I thought, I want to do it, but my first excursion out on the ocean years before was a fishing trip that I got deathly seasick.
Right.
And I thought, I'll never do this again.
Right.
But reading that article and hearing how close they got and the different types of, not so much different types, but of whale, how big the activity was, I had to do it. So I found a place down there. It was called Sanctuary Cruises. I'm pretty sure they're still out there. Called them to book a trip, but I said, can you help me with seasickness? They gave me a lot of advice. Number one, just to eat crackers and drink ginger ale.
Ginger ale, right.
Okay,
Right.
that's what I did it that morning. Didn't anything else. And then when I got there, they had these plastic bracelets that pulsated. Now, whether it worked or not, and they were everybody on the trip. They said, if you want them, they're $12, but if you want them, get them now. Once you're out there and you get sick, they're not going to work. Well, I purchased it. I want everything. And I did not get sick. I did it twice. And the sea was a little rough one time. So, boy, that was a fantastic experience.
Oh, I bet.
Saw not only some breaches, but and we were within probably, 200, 300 feet. They would catch maybe they were herring. The operator would say, okay, look out here because you could see the fish gathering while they were herding the fish, and then all of a sudden 4 or 5 whales come up at one time to feed.
So they're
magnificent stuff.
Probably humpbacks, yeah.
Yeah. Just stuff that I'll remember.
Yeah,
my life.
no. Yeah, humpback whales are so fun to watch because they're acrobats.
Yeah.
And they group. Gray whales that we see here in the migration that we watch anyway, they don't seem to group as much. They're not social. But humpbacks are social.
Oh,
So you
okay.
see
There's a
in
difference
groups.
then from
Yeah,
that.
there's like 4 or 5, and they fish together.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know. I didn't think they ate fish, but they might. I suppose they eat it.
Well, whatever.
Whatever.
Could have been.
Yeah,
I
whatever it is.
again don't remember. But another thing was that they were bubbling. The guy would catch the bubbles. They would shoot up a bubble
It's a bubble
ring
net. It's
or
called.
something. Oh, it was amazing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing they can get coordinated enough to do that. They all get together and
Right.
create this
They're-
bubble net, and then
Yeah.
some get to go rush up through it to their mouth open.
Yeah, they really have, when you watch and learn about them, they're really intelligent creatures, and they really have a sense of awareness that makes them, there's a term for it, what is it?
I think that type of knowledge in recent years has gotten them a lot of sympathy or empathy. I know a few years ago in this area, the indigenous people wanted to go out and hunt them again.
Right.
And how did that wind up, do you know?
They got to do it, and the way it was done was horrible, and it was mostly because they had their rights taken away from them a long time ago.
Yes.
And so
We have to remember that.
at some point the rights were given back to them, but the elders were really hesitant, and they didn't think they really needed to
Really?
because of the way things are in the world right now. But the younger kids, the 30-year-olds, were like, no, we're going to go get whales. It's all right. We're going to go do it. So they got it all set up to whatever their method is. They knew what was coming, and they saw what it was. And what they did, I think I watched a video one time and couldn't sit through it, but they went out with loaded harpoons. They didn't just go out and do it the old-fashioned way. They went out with like guns
Yeah.
and killed this whale that had actually come up to their boat as a friendly whale. And it was one of those heart-wrenching things. that
Very
you think,
bad PR.
how could you do that? But they did it. And then apparently the story of the after, they had a party to celebrate. They didn't even do anything with the whale. They just killed it.
Oh, no.
And then the grandmothers came along from the tribe and went through and did what needed to be done to the whale. And the kids went back and got drunk and passed out and all
So
stuff
it wasn't
like
exactly a revival of
No.
traditional values.
it was just one of those
Taking advantage.
not taking advantage, but it's like, it's our right to do this. We get to do it. And so I can sympathize, but it's like,
Well,
not
to
that
a
way.
point.
You know, in Alaska, they never stopped hunting whales. The Marine Mammal Act excluded indigenous people from hunting marine mammals. And I've never been a fan of whale hunting or hunting at all for that matter. Well, I used to hunt, but... and I used to think, well, gee, they don't need to kill whales because I felt an affinity towards them like everybody does. But then I started going to places like St. Lawrence Island and getting to know people, and that's a big deal there. It's not just if you're on the whaling crew, as an example. I was a state trooper, and I'd go out there and land the plane and find somebody and ask how I could get a hold of so-and-so, and somebody say, oh, yeah, he's my cousin, and he's on the whaling crew. Like it was a really big deal for his cousin to be on the whaling crew. And they definitely did bring the whole animal in and
Yeah.
all the things you do with it.
Well, to me, if it's done with sort of a sense of reverence, which is what
And I
it
think
originally
that's part
was.
of that. I do believe
Yeah.
that's
And
all
it's
part of it.
Not just to kill. I mean, the thing that I've had the hardest time with learning about whales, and I've read a lot of books and stuff that's historical, what we did to whales, it's just like we did to the indigenous tribes.
Exactly.
We just killed them
Tribes and
said, get out of my way, we want this.
And the buffalo.
Yeah.
And it was that type
It
of
was that
thing.
type of energy. And so we basically almost eliminated gray whales. And they came back, and then we did it again. So we've done it to them twice, and they're just the most forgiving, compassionate creatures. And so you have to wonder what that's all about. And
Back in the day when we used whale oil for things, it was a very big business.
it was, yeah.
And
Yeah, it's hard to watch those old videos of them cutting up and the harpoon guns,
Harpoon.
like you said. Pretty
Right.
brutal.
It's brutal.
pretty.
I mean, you know, you don't want to go down that road, but
Well,
humans are awful. I mean, we really are.
Oh, yeah.
We're so pushy, and we want what we want, and we don't want no for an answer, and it's like, get out of my way type of energy. And it's like, it's that, to me, that's the problem.
yeah,
We don't need
Yeah.
to do that anymore. It's like, stop doing that, and we're still doing it
yeah.
because that's what we do. And I just feel like when you read about all the whale hunts and stuff, it's just
Yeah.
heart-wrenching.
Well,
The Earth could have well gotten along without humans. And I think the worst thing that
I
happened,
know.
and the worst thing that happened from humans was white people.
I think you're right. I think we're awful. Sometimes I'm embarrassed to be in this tribe. You know, It's like, I don't think so.
well, and back to the whaling now. Overall, from what I have read, the only countries left that do whaling, and they do it in against the Whaling Commission's moratorium when they had that, which said no more whaling, basically. But Japan, Norway, and Iceland still violate that moratorium.
Right. Yeah, I've heard that. I know Japan does for sure, and they're really aggressive.
Yes,
And
they are.
They've pretty much wiped out a bunch of species of whales, I think.
And some dolphins, they have something about the dolphin. Yeah.
Yeah.
So why they continue to do that, I don't know. Now, and the other part
Because
is,
it's pretty much, how are you going to take them to jail? What are you going to
Right, what are you going to do about
true,
it?
yeah.
I don't know. You're probably both familiar with Sea Shepherd, whose
Oh, yeah.
aim it is to save the whales and the cetaceans, and they literally go out and get in the way of the whaling boats and cut them off and cut them off from the whales and do very dangerous things.
Yeah.
Years ago, when Sea Shepherd broke away from Greenpeace, they would sink whaling boats in port.
And is that any
I
better?
think Paul Watson still
was
has
gonna say,
a.
Did they really do that?
Yes.
Okay, that one I don't really call. That's a little too the other way,
That's
I guess.
way too, yeah.
But the Greenpeace, I haven't heard much about them lately. I assume they're still out.
Paul Watson quit Greenpeace because they thought they were too wimpy.
Oh.
So we need to be out here blocking these people and
Oh,
doing.
okay.
And I tend to go along with that line of thinking.
Okay.
But I ain't going out there.
Well, what
and-
does it do? Because they're just going to wait till you're not looking and do it anyway.
Well, if you do enough of it, though, I seem to remember reading a couple of years ago that Japan has cut back a whole lot on their whaling, primarily because of Sea Shepherd.
Well, that's
Well,
good. No, I
that
think
is
they
a good-
should.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you really need their meat, their oil. You don't need that.
No.
Right.
And you know, there at one point, I think it's Japan, the biggest whale export that they had, the biggest product was dog food.
Yeah.
And they really did that.
Oh,
And
my. That's hideous.
How could you do that?
I had
mean,
no idea
No,
about
it's a fact. And
Well,
it's
this is-
kind of gag.
Yeah.
How could you do that?
Yeah.
So it's just, to me, it's just one of those, things that you don't want to think about, but it's really happening. And
Yeah.
It's not, it hasn't really, the whales are recovered. They talk about orcas now. The orcas are endangered, seriously
Yes.
bad because of the pollution, mostly, and plastics. mostly.
Plastics. Oh, my gosh.
Is that
Talk
some of the
about-
reasons they've changed their feeding pattern? Orcas didn't used to eat otters, and now they attack the rafts,
They're-
which are very
Yeah.
sitting ducks, basically.
I thought orcas always have had the ocean mammals, if you will.
Well, they're
on
aggressive.
there.
They're meat eaters.
Yeah.
Gray whales are not.
Right.
And so that's the difference. And orcas are just, they're big dolphins, is basically. They're in
Yeah.
the dolphin family. They're not really
They're-
whales, but they have teeth, so they eat meat.
Yes.
And
they're pretty intelligent, too.
They are. They're very intelligent. They're one of the most intelligent creatures on the planet, they say.
Yes.
So, don't get in their way.
No.
There used to be two tribes. They call them tribes. I don't know.
They're called pods, and there's 4 pods now that they name.
the pods are different than the tribes, and there were certain orcas that basically ate salmon, and that's what they fed on all the time.
Right.
And then others ate meat.
Yes.
And I understand that the salmon ones are giving up that diet and joining in the eating.
Well, because there's not enough salmon. And the salmon are all toxic. And that's what's killing them off is the orcas are eating toxic salmon, which is the meat. Their toxins are stored in their fat, and then when there's no food for them to eat, they burn off their fat, and the toxins come into their systems, and it kills them. And the orcas they're endangered now. The only they're endangered in Oregon. They're federally endangered. And California hasn't made them endangered yet, which is bizarre.
I'm surprised. That's my state, my home state.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
They didn't. They haven't.
And along the line, speaking of orcas, that's one of my bucket lists. That's one I've never seen out, even in Monterey or Moss Landing. I was figuring on catching sight. I've never seen an orca out in the wild, but I know we have them here. I was at Sport Haven one day, and a guy had a wonderful camera that he was taking pictures, and he said just a day before he had seen a couple of orcas right by the harbor. So
Yeah, there were
have
some
you
here.
seen any here?
I saw the tail end of them once.
Okay.
I could have kicked myself. I had been down on the South Harris Beach for my evening
Okay.
thing, and I came back up, and as I came back up that hill, a whole bunch of younger people passed me, and they were like party time passing me, and I was glad I came back up, and I got my car and was sitting there like you do on your phone for a minute, kind of going through whatever it was I did. And there was all this yelling and screaming and all these people, and I thought, wow, they're really having a party down there. And I looked up just in time to see the tail end of two orcas swimming right exactly where I had been, right there, right in that cove.
Yeah.
And they're so fast you can't just run and see them.
are.
They were, they're really fast swimmers.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they're around, and they actually resident here too. So there's
I'm still I'm waiting
I
for
know.
my first sight.
Well, you have to be fast. I think that's what
And I'm not fast.
I was on the beach in L.A. one time, and there was a dolphin swimming in the surf there all the time. And one time there were some black cetaceans with white on them, and I would say they were orcas, except they're small, but there are porpoise that have white on them, and I don't
There's a
know
kind
if
of dolphin or porpoise that has that same color, but who knows? Could have been a baby orca. I don't know.
There's so many marine animals. It's hard to prove. Somebody like me to know which one's where, what, doing. But,
Right.
But no, orcas are aggressive because they eat meat. I mean, that's the difference. They're not vegetarians.
Right. Now, and I know how much, take this a little bit with a grain of salt, but I've been hearing reports and reading on YouTube. Here we go, Ray, but you know how that can be. But there have been orcas attacking boats over off the coast of Portugal. Have you been hearing that at all?
I remember seeing news items about it, and I don't think they were attacking them to attack the people. That was just
They were, I don't know. It was a popular kind of a news story bite for quite a while, but they sank a couple of boats. From what I hear, they were able to get the people off before they were biting the props.
I have a hard time believing that.
Well, again, take that with a grain of salt.
Well, the thing that I find, and I don't spend that much time online, but I do see an awful lot of stuff that's you can tell it's AI generated.
That is
garbage.
And it's just and it's a lot of whale stuff, a lot.
But there have been, the story of Moby Dick started out with a whale that actually attacked the whaling boat. So and
okay.
got developed a little bit.
A little bit, but it's the idea to me that I bet it would have come up in our class yesterday about orcas attacking boats. I think they
I would have thought for a 6-hour presentation.
No, I think it would have been
might have
mentioned.
been.
But your class was a PR thing for whales, right? They're not going to tell you the bad things.
Oh no,
I bet they did. No, I got really depressed. I think they told us it's really.
Yeah. Well,
so, for a lot of it, and it's I honestly have to really watch myself because I go on Facebook every now and then just to get the local drill.
Don't do that.
I know, but I do, and I share pictures and stuff, and it's okay. But sometimes I manage to get on a feed that I get that just shows up, and it's whales, and they're these incredible pictures of people who are like in a little fishing boat right there, and there's like a big 100-foot whale breaching right in front of the boat, which would never happen. That would never happen. And there's like 2,000, 100,000 likes for that post. And you think, people are really stupid. And I'm sorry, but I really think
Yes,
they are.
we as a species could be that way.
They have
occasionally.
the videos where a seal or something has washed up on shore, and he's literally covered from head to tail with barnacles, and these that are in a perfect pattern, and these wonderful people come and take the barnacles off.
Right.
But I imagine by erasing them in Photoshop or something.
Well,
Didn't
I
happen.
guess you can do that. I learned yesterday something I didn't really know. There's actually gray whales have barnacles for a reason. And so, because I've seen those videos too, where they've simulated a whale breaching and then some guy jumping on his back with a brush and brushing off the barnacles and then spraying hose. I mean, I've seen this. That was the dumbest video I ever watched.
Oh, okay.
And it got like 10 million likes.
Yeah.
But barnacles are on whales for a reason. It's a symbiotic relationship, and they do good things for it.
Okay.
And there's an actual whale barnacle, and the researchers notice the patterns in the barnacles, and they can tell you what whale is what whale by the barnacles. They know
to identify that particular whale.
So it's really interesting. I always thought barnacles were just like dirty looking things,
Right.
but they have there's a purpose.
Well, I'll be darned.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
The purpose is the little parasitic guys that keep whale skin healthy live in the barnacles, and so they need a place to be, and so that's where they hang out, and it's really interesting.
Well, good for them.
Good for them, yeah. But
Right.
they don't, if you went to pick a barnacle off a whale's back, you wouldn't be doing it a favor. It'd be really dumb.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that was a good thing to know. I had no idea.
Well, y'all out there, remember, you can text in questions or comments here, 541-661-4098. Line's open, so text in. Back to, you were talking about the spouts earlier, Joann. We did have a very unique happening here, back in, I think it was August, the blue whale sightings that we had here.
Yeah, we did.
Were you able to catch any of that?
I caught that. I did.
That was
couldn't stop watching it.
amazing.
It was amazing. No, nobody seems to know what that was or why it was so.
That was pretty rare to have them come in that close to
It
shore.
was, and it wasn't really documented. It didn't. It was a quick
It was.
little thing, but it actually lasted a couple of weeks.
I think so. And I was at Harris Beach. It didn't, like you said, not documented. And I wasn't really even looking because it was August or
It was August.
that time.
Early
And I thought, and all of a sudden, halfway through my walk, and I didn't have my binoculars, I saw a spout. But this spout looked different and bigger. And I thought, it intrigued me. So then not me running, but I walked fast back to my car, grabbed my binoculars, and more people had assembled. And then one of the the rangers, I guess, came up and said, well, you guys are checking out the blue whales. And and boy, you could tell that
amazing.
spouts were different. When they showed their back, they were just big. It was a wonderful sight. And a blue whale, that was one of the things on my bucket list also. So I got to cross that one off.
That was really cool. No, it was really unusual, and they were around for a while. But I got to see. I had a neighbor who had a drone. I don't like drones very much, but he sent a drone out.
I don't either, but sometimes I wish I had them. But go ahead.
That was the coolest video.
Wow.
It was because he sent the drone out. I live on a place where we have a park right across from where I live. So a long time ago, there was a restaurant there, and so now there's no restaurant, but there's this big empty field. It's private, but we go there anyway. And anyway, this guy, we were out on that particular point, and the guy sent the drone out over the cliff, and it was a blue whale and a baby, and it was just the best video. And there you could see all the way out to the horizon, you could see spouts. It was just whatever that was.
I'm so tempted to buy one of those, but I know what will happen. I would use it about an hour, and that would be it.
It would crash.
No, I would get tired of playing with it. I mean, there's just so many films of zooming. We watched a movie yesterday that was full of drone shots. It was a little self-made movie by a couple, and the drone shots were amazing.
They're amazing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and the things they can do and the things you can buy for less than $1,000, that there's just tons of automatic features.
Yeah.
But I would take where my house is situated, you can't really get a picture of it because it's on a. So I would love
Yeah,
to
but
just
you've
do a
got some-
flyby and have a picture of my house, and I'd put it away and never use it.
Yeah,
again.
right.
It would go with the camera I bought years ago.
I've been to Ray's house, and it's got some beautiful panoramic views of the ocean. Some
I don't know if it has
fantastic
them.
views. Joann, I have to ask you too, because we encountered when we were there just a few weeks ago, some crazy questions from some of the people that come up when you're doing the volunteer. I think I remember one guy, if I had this right, he was asking you, it was you and two, Bob, and then what was the other lady, Shannon?
Oh, there's Shannon and there's, what's her name? I forget.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, about how do you get the whales to come in close to the shore? Just that kind of stuff, but that's okay, man.
Well, it's, you have to, once you do that for a while, and, there are multiple days, and you get to see all kinds of people from all over the world, people from Italy and Turkey
Right,
and all over.
that's a beautiful
It's like
thing.
they don't know anything about whales at all.
Right.
And so, until I started to learn about it, I didn't either.
Yeah,
So you have
correct.
to kind of wonder. I guess I knew more than you don't really call whales in, but that guy didn't. But I think that's the whole point of the program. It's not just to let people watch whales, and that's a part of it. But the other part is to raise the awareness of the oceans and the need that we
hugely.
have to connect a little bit more in a maybe a more heartfelt way that makes it more important, so that we take better
I think
care.
the three of us at this table pay some attention to nature and what's going on.
I hope so.
But not everybody does. I used to do a reptile
right about that.
demonstration at the park in Tucson. And as part of that, my job, as self-appointed thing, was I handled this fairly large gopher snake. And it got used to me. It was very calm. It didn't actually even mind being out of the demonstrations. It got it out of its cage for a little while. But I had this one that I kept referring to as she, and somebody asked me, "How do you know it's a female?" And I said, "Well, in one of the tanks down there, there's 10 babies that the eggs she laid soon after we caught her." And the person wanted to know if we put the snake in there at night to nurse the babies.
And I don't know enough about
we
snakes.
actually, if we'd put her in there at night, she'd eat the babies. So that
there
That's
it
it.
is.
That makes perfect sense.
But I'm sure one of your joys, and it is one of mine, and I'm not a volunteer yet anyway, that's kind of intriguing. We had talked about it a little bit when I was there. Another example, at Cape Ferrelo, I was there during the migration. I was the only one there, which is unbelievable. And the couple came up, and they saw me with the binoculars, and they were, what are you checking out? I said, well, right now, man, there's whales out there. Oh my! And they were from Klamath Falls. You're not going to see any whales in Klamath Falls. And they were just intrigued as heck, and sat there for the next hour and a half or whatever, watching, just as excited as I was. It's a pleasure to turn somebody else on to that wonderful sight.
Well, it's part. I get that a lot of people come to Oregon to see a whale.
Yeah.
That's part of what
One of our-
do. That's
yeah,
one of our
one of their
draws. And so, I understand. That's what happened to me. I mean, I was in Cannon Beach, what was it, in 2012, I think. And I saw my first whale here. And I just sort of got addicted.
Yeah.
And I think
It's easy
that
to.
happens, especially like you said, that once you learn how important the outdoors is and nature is, it's just sort of what you do.
Right.
I mean, it's
Right.
not.
And again, I praise this place a lot of times. Like you say, out in nature, we've got so much beauty here, so much beauty, mountains,
beautiful.
greenery, trees, the ocean, all the different wildlife. And again, back to the bird, we talked about the bald eagles. There's so many different types. One of my favorite scenes out here is when the pelicans come in and start feeding.
Yeah.
Watching those things dive bomb the water, they look so graceful as they're flying. Well, they are graceful, but boy, when they hit that water and going for the fish, it looked like somebody doing a belly flop.
No.
So
Look
again,
at
while
'em-
you're out there,
You look at them and think they screwed up. They got too close and fell in.
Well, yeah.
Because it's not
They're
very
gobbling up something.
How do
and
they do
come
that?
up. I don't know.
Well, I like it when they're flying right along the top of the wave. They're like half an inch off the top.
I don't
of
know
the
how
wave.
they do that.
How do they do that? Yeah, but
Following the contour of the waves.
yeah,
It's amazing.
that's what pelicans do.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a special place.
Yeah, no, we're really lucky, and I feel that every day. I think that's why I go out to watch whales, if for no other reason than I just get to stand there and watch what's going on
Yeah,
in the world around
I
me.
feel pretty special when I do see that.
Yeah.
And so, how many, we have grays, humpbacks, and now I've seen
Blues, right.
orcas. Is that pretty much, no,
Well,
but they had a fin whale wash up on
They're
the
fin
beach
whales,
the other
right?
day.
There's fin whales, and I don't, honestly, I don't know how I would be able to tell the difference between a gray whale and a fin whale if I was looking
Well,
on
me
the water. They really
Right.
are really similar. Maybe it's a spout. I'm not so sure about that.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm counting in my book here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 different kind of baleen whales, which is what a gray whale is.
Yeah,
and
that
there's
we
1,
have
2,
here
3.
along the coast?
Well, there's 4 specific ones that you
Okay.
expect to see here, but then they're not counting the fin whale.
Oh,
And a
okay.
fin whale just washed up on the beach up north.
Right.
So
Yeah.
So you have to wonder. I'm curious about the fact that there's deep sea mining going on all over the Pacific Ocean, and so what that means is that they're basically, whoever it is, Japan, China, maybe
Yeah.
the USA, we're going way down deep in the ocean in these little submarines and blowing up the ocean ground so we can get minerals
Right.
out of it.
Yeah.
And so if you were a whale and you lived by echolocation, which is
Yeah.
the vibration in the water, and they started to blow up the ground at the bottom of the the basin,
Yeah.
that'd kind of make you want to leave, wouldn't it?
Well, you would think
You would
so.
think that you just sort of hightail it in a different direction, and so maybe they came here
Yeah.
because it was safer. I don't know.
I don't know either. Another thing that concerned me during the migration now, and this is a big, fresh seafood up here around here is wonderful. I was amazed at what I saw a lot of crab traps set out right off of Harris Beach during the migration. I thought that was not allowed.
I don't.
Do you know anything
yeah,
about
I
that?
don't know anything about that.
And I did talk to, because I get my local fresh seafood at the harbor a lot, and I talked to the lady in there, wonderful lady. We're friends, and I mentioned, oh, have you been out? Have you seen any whale? Before the migration started, I asked her, had she been out to see any? Had she seen any whales? And she gave me a look, and she said, I don't want to see any whales
Yeah.
because that's her livelihood.
Yeah.
I kind of see that, but I think also, boy, do you not want the whales are what do they call the species of very all species are important, I suppose. There's a certain
Keystone.
keystone.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ray. A keystone species for the ocean, and which is going to eventually affect the salmon, the crabs, the whatever else. But yeah, she was just not in favor of seeing the whales. I just thought that was a little sad.
that was one of the concerns yesterday that's been
Oh,
brought
really?
up because, I mean, you got to be aware of that. People make their living off
No, you do.
stuff.
You have to
And-
make trade-offs.
and you have to be able to take care of what's in the water too.
You bet.
And so that it's just a really hard thing.
Balance. How do we get that balance?
Yeah. And I think being a fisherman must be a really hard life. And so I don't blame those people for kind of being territorial. Going, wait a minute, this is
again,
how I make my living.
Yeah.
But at the
I
same
didn't want to sit
time,
there and debate her. Believe me, I didn't want to do that. But
how
it kinda
about the
hurt me
whales?
that,
Yeah, how
wow.
about the whales? I mean, they can't get out of your net, and you're killing them.
Right.
And we don't always see them. I mean, they don't always wash up on the beach. Sometimes they just sink into the bottom of
Right.
the basin, and it's just
Well, and we have talked a little bit about this particular problem with Bill Gorham on another show about, balance and how can we work this problem out. Now, this is what I have read also, not on YouTube, but I've read. They're starting to develop crab traps without having to attach the line, which that's what the whales get hung up in.
Right. Yeah.
Now it's a lot more money because from what I remember, they can drop the crab traps without a line, and through their phones they can beep. This is not going to be the scientific explanation, but they basically have little inflatable balloons, if you want to call them. When they want to get that trap back, they'll inflate these. They will float to the top with no lines attached.
Right.
Now, again, I'm sure that's going to be a lot of money.
Expensive.
And
People today's technology, that would not
technology.
be,
Thank you. There you go.
would not really not be that big a deal to do something like that. Except I don't know how well these radio waves go into the water. I think.
Well, again, that's above
wonder.
my pay grade, and I'm sure the people
whatever.
smart enough can figure that out.
But I'm sure if you have 5,000 crab traps, it's going to cost you a lot to change.
Well, that
over,
can't be
but-
cheap at all.
Oh, no.
No.
Yeah.
So you have to, you have to hope, but then how are they going to regulate it? And who's going to comply? And, who's going to get off the hook because they don't have enough money and all that stuff.
All of that.
And there's always major money involved in blocking any kind of.
Right.
The current administration that doesn't think that we have
Well,
any.
you got to wonder about those guys. I mean, who are those guys anyway? But
I'm glad they're keeping track of climate change and realizing it's a big hoax.
yeah, if we could just do something, if we could just figure out and do it quickly, so we don't totally. I mean, the thing that I see is that we just kind of waited a little bit too long to start thinking about it. We should have been doing this 50 years ago.
Well, we certainly should
and it was
have.
brought up 50 years ago.
It was.
So,
Yeah,
Oh, it
I
was.
was aware of it.
And I think maybe even before then, but didn't really catch fire.
No.
And then when it did catch fire, the opposite started to
Right.
happen, where the big hoaxes
it was
started
a
to
big
come.
deal just getting lead out of fuel.
Well,
Yeah,
It was a big brouhaha over
Well, we have to make it so complicated. I mean, that's what keeps those people in Washington in jobs, because we make it just complicated that we can't just figure it out and deal with it. We have to just talk about it for a year.
Unfortunately, we can overcomplicate a lot of things,
Yeah,
can't we?
right.
The human species.
Right, we're so good at it. And that's why I think when I watch whales, I just feel so honored to be able to connect with the creature that's just out there doing this thing that they do.
Yeah.
And they've been doing for millions of years, and they just do
Yeah.
it regardless. And they must have something that we don't. They must be able to connect with some force in the universe
Yep.
that's so much greater than we can even wrap our heads around.
Right.
And I really envy them. I really do.
Oh, gosh, I do
feel
too.
like I wish. I mean, maybe in my next lifetime I'll come back as a whale. I hope they've cleaned up the oceans by then. But
Hopefully that would be the case.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
No, they are very special. I keep putting my note. I came across where I finally had the keystone species, what they call the whales. They call them also. They're at the very top of the keystone species. Ecosystem engineers is a term that they use because, I mean, without them, everything else goes down. Pretty much.
right. Well, they like I say, they've been around for so long, and that they're still here. That has to mean something. And that we're so. That there's enough of us that are concerned about it that they actually do research. And there's a huge amount of research being done all the time, all over the world.
And that's positive.
That's positive.
That's huge. That's
Yeah.
a big deal.
So you have to know that what we see on the news probably isn't what's really happening, which is a good thing.
Right.
But the rest of it, you just kind of have to me, it's like, well, what can I do that might be positive to help other people sort of get excited about what's possible?
Well, and you're doing one thing.
Well, I hope so. I mean, that's not what I wake up in the morning to think about. But to me, if we don't start doing that
Yeah.
for more things in Wales, we're screwed.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're already kind of screwed. But the whales make it easy for me to just sort of get, okay, there's this passion that we forgot about, you guys. And it's everybody. It's not just me and you and everybody in this room. It's
Right.
us. And the species needs to wake up and start taking, worrying about things that are important instead of, what's on sale at Fred Meyer's. I mean, and stuff like that. We're just so unbalanced. And that's the concern I have, is that I'm old enough. I'm going to be out of here 20 years and I'm probably gone.
Okay. Us too.
But the rest, what are we leaving behind?
Yeah.
And, what's going to happen? And do I need to care? And I care while I'm here, so that works. But for the rest of it, you just have to go, boy,
Right.
what else?
Well, and it's even if you do live in a place that maybe you don't, like I did, you don't see whales. I care about even the species that maybe I don't see
Right.
or will never see. Right. I'll use, let's say, the polar bears for an example.
Yeah.
Will I ever see one? No, I'm sure I won't.
I spend every morning tracking the progress of salamander eggs in my pond.
Do you?
Okay, there you go.
Oh, there's a little spot. That one's developing. Now they're, I'd say, less than a week away from hatching. And I have two different kinds.
And I love those salamanders are cool.
Except they're newts. And okay, I have two sets of eggs now, two different times animals are breeding. And soon, any day now, the frogs will start to breed. And you know that because it's a racket. It's almost too much noise.
It's noisy, yeah.
And
that's a pleasant noise.
Now, what happens is the newts, who are carnivores, mean, aggressive carnivores, develop quicker than the frogs, and they start eating the tadpoles before. And there's a lot of those. They can eat a lot of those, and I don't have any frogs left. So as soon as as these newts start getting to any size, I'll start catching them and releasing them someplace else, so they don't eat all my frogs.
You've got your own little ecosystem
Yes, I do.
going on.
Sounds like
And I had my own little things I care about. You guys, whales, frogs,
So that's okay.
lizards.
We all got to have something, right?
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to see Ray's poison dart frog little friends that he has. They're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful.
Whoever thought an 82
Wouldn't want to lick one, I guess, but
Whoever thought an 82-year-old person would have pet frogs?
oh,
I think that's a good thing.
no kidding.
You know, there was an article someplace the other day that there was somebody murdered with dart frog poison.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
But I believe it. Yeah, there was probably a recipe on YouTube that you can make your own.
And how to get away with it.
And how to get away with it, right, right. And how to AI might do it for you.
Oh, yeah. Well, we are running out of time. Joann, I really want to thank you. I'm glad I met you at the whale watching escapade there at Harris Beach, and it was fun to get to talk to somebody with as much passion and maybe more than I have.
Well,
about it.
I'm.
And it's an important thing that we.
It's an important thing. We need to get over it and not, start screaming about stuff we like.
Yes.
And we really do.
Yes. And there's plenty of it.
The trouble is, when you get passionate about something, you kind of get your feelings hurt when people are not passionate about it. What do you mean? If I did that, then I would lose my job or something.
Well, it's the times we're in. I mean, you get to choose what you think is important, I guess, is how I see it.
And when I hear this, it will destroy that industry. There's lots of industries have been just, we don't make buggy whips anymore and parts for.
They don't make corsets, I don't think, and stuff like that. So, it's...
Right. I always like to use the analogy that many, many, many years ago, there was this guy, I don't know his name, but he had a wonderful business. He was the third generation doing this, making Clovis spear points. And he was training his kids to make Clovis spear points, and then all of a sudden there wasn't a need for Clovis spear points anymore. So just to keep him in business, should we have continued and going out and spearing animals?
Who knows? I don't think
we
so.
adapted.
Yeah, it's good to adapt.
Okay, man, we're down to about 10 seconds. So thank you again,
Rick.
Joann.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's
Michael in the booth, my Mr. Host, Ray Gary. Thank you all. KCIW, LP 100.7 FM, beautiful Brookings, Oregon.